Well, demands to reconvene Parliament right away were given added impetus this evening when the government bowed to MPs' demands and published its secret documents about the worst-case consequences of a no-deal Brexit. They suggest public and business readiness for a no-deal Brexit remains at a low level, which could be made worse by what they call EU exit fatigue. Well, the document also points to potential food shortages, reducing availability and choice of products, increasing prices too, which could impact vulnerable groups. The reliance of medicine supply chains on the Channel crossing makes them particularly vulnerable to severe extended delays. And there are warnings of potential protests across the country, saying there may also be a rise in public disorder and community tensions. Well, Robert Peston joins me now from his studio ahead of his programme a bit later. Robert, some of this had been leaked a couple of weeks ago, but seeing the official documents is pretty stark, isn't it? What did you make of them?
So, I mean, this demonstrates why the Prime Minister constantly says he would rather get a deal than no deal. And the one thing I would just add to what you have said about this document is, yes, it is described as a worst case, but it's described as a reasonable worst case. In other words, you know, desperate uncertainty for British nationals living in the rest of the European Union, shortages of food, shortages of medicine, some foods going up in a way that particularly hits the living standards of poor people. These are all things that may well happen. Now, you know, I've just interviewed for my show, which you can see very shortly after the news, Robert Jenrick, who's a member of the Cabinet, and he said to me that, you know, the government is continuing to take steps to try and eliminate these risks, and within a matter of days, he said to me, they would publish a new assessment of, in essentially, the reasonable worst case. But, you know, the truth is, and the Prime Minister knows this, a no-deal Brexit will be a shock. And the only issue is how bad a shock and how painful for us.